Oh, hello. Yes, I'm back. The hat is back. We're going to speculate, predict, prognosticate, soothsay, and rumour. So as you might know, it has been announced today there's going to be a Kill Team preview at Adepticon 2023 with a live stream. So what do we think this means? Well, it's got to be Gallowfall, right? So this is by far and away the most likely thing to be previewed at Adepticon. One of the nice things about being a Kill Team sort of rumour guesser is that really the only thing that they can do is bring out the next big box. There's not much else that they can do for us. So it's going to be Gallowfall. So what do we think is going to be in Gallowfall? Now, it's worth saying, I've got some rumour and conjecture that I've gathered from other people later on in the presentation about things that are happening in the future. I've heard almost nothing about Gallowfall. This is all stuff that I've put together with my own thinking cap, so it might just be flat wrong. But I now think, and apologies I said this before on the channel, first of all, I think this is going to come out early in April. Certainly before Warhammer Fest on the 29th. Because Warhammer Fest on the 29th of April is when they are going to run the first teaser trailer for Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. And once they've run the Warhammer 40,000... No, sorry, not the first teaser trailer. Let me get my ducks in a row here. Warhammer Fest on the 29th is going to be the full open box reveal trailer of Warhammer 40,000 10th edition. Right? It's when they're going to show you exactly what you get in the box, all the nice little Terminators, all the nice little Tyranids, all the nice little Terminator Captain, the nice rulebook with the wraparound art, anything you think is going to be there, it's probably going to be there. And from that point onward, it will be absolute saturation Warhammer 40k 10th edition. We'll all turn into Auspex Tactics and start viewing everything through the lens of its usefulness in 40k. I'll probably start talking about 40k. All the other Kill Team channels will probably start talking about 40k. Everything will be pulled into the sort of dark gravity centre that is the Warhammer 40k 10th edition hype. All right, this is what Games Workshop want, because they want people like me, right? I worked this out with a friend. I've played 2 games of 9th edition, right? Partially because I was in hospital with COVID, and COVID was a whole thing and everything else. But I've played 2 games of 9th edition, right? I play Kill Team. I've played more games of Horus Heresy, which has been out for like a year, than I have of 9th edition. I played 2 games of 9th edition. They want people like me, who are still in the Games Workshop ecosystem, but not spending as much as we used to, back on the 40k train, back collecting 2,000 point armies. So they need to clear the decks a little bit here. They need to get Kill Teams now. Kill Team's been really well for them, but they need to get the Kill Team box out, hyped, out, sold, and then forgotten about. Because Games Workshop never wants you to think about 2 things at the same time. They always want you to be thinking about the next thing and buying it, and then buying the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. If that sounds a bit cynical, then I'm sorry, I'm a little bit of a cynic. But it's true. And next month, they've also got to try and get out this Lion book that everyone believes is happening. So there's going to be another book in the Arcs of Omen series, a 5th book after the Xenos book, which is going to be with the Farsight and the Orc fella. So they want to get that Lion book out. Now, again, this is all very push for time, as far as I can see. I mean, the Vashtor book's only just coming out on Saturday. So they've got to get the Farsight book out, they've got to get the Lion book out. Now, I don't know that they necessarily got to get the Lion out before Warhammer Fest, but they've got to get him fully previewed before Warhammer Fest, and then they're going to sell you the Lion while you're high on the hype for 40k 10th, right? Because they've got to sell something in that hype period. They're going to have at least, I would say, 2 weeks of hype for 40k 10th edition, if not probably much longer, right? Because probably it's not coming out until the summer proper, right? But Kill Team definitely is clearing the decks before Warhammer Fest, I think. So why do I think it's going to be this? It's going to be squats with an upgrade sprue, and something around Vashtor. So we'll go for the Cult of the Archifane, right? So the Cult of the Archifane is going to be a Chaos-aligned team. They're probably going to be reasonably similar to the Galapox Infected aesthetically, but not Nurgly, more Vashtor-related. They're probably going to look a lot like these guys I've got here from the old Blackstone Fortress game. And I would suggest that they will be a horde team with a lot of kind of finessey little tricks, and then probably some really interesting rules in narrative play for meddling with the actual Space Hulk itself. And then I think they're going to go against an upgrade sprue team, which will be based around the squads, the leagues of Votann. I'm going to call them squads. They're going to be based around the squads, right? The basic squad troop box. I don't know what they're called. Hearthguard, Ancestor Guard, Hearthkin Warriors, Hearthkin Brotherhood, something like that, right? Squats versus tech demons. Okay, now, so what's my evidence for this supposition? It's unsolved rumor engines. So you can see these down here on the right-hand side, well, the center of the screen. You got 4 rumor engines that are clearly squat in their artifice, right? Well, excuse me, still a bit unwell. That axe could be something else, I suppose. But the other 3, the axe in the top left, and the backpack, and the little hand, could all be squat. Now, these are all doing something that Games Workshop always does with upgrade sprue. Not always, but often does with upgrade sprue kill teams, right? Now, you'll have to forgive me because I find the squat lore kind of tedious. But the backpack, right, is the same style of thing as the squat on the hover bike. Like there's like a squat ranger that ranges out ahead of the other things, is like some kind of explorer or prospectory type thing, and she has loads of backpacks and saddlebags and extra equipment, and that's very reminiscent of that. And then the little hand doing the Holt thing, that's very reminiscent of the like psychery rune smithy fellow with the little bowbot. He's got his hand kind of out like that. So I wonder if the squat kill team's going to have a guy, similar to the Chaos Legionaries, to have like a mini, like not the HQ level, but like a mini psyker guy. And then we got a big axe that's fancy for some kind of combat specialist. And don't forget, there's loads of stuff on the core Hearthkin Warrior, I want to say, from memory, sprue that's like extra bits and pieces that didn't even have a rules in 40k originally, so they could have other specialists coming up just from their core sprue. Over on the left-hand side, we've got 2 things that I think could potentially have to do with the legions. The Cult of the Archifane is probably the most likely name we're going for. This top one I'm most sort of... it's a skull, but it's not for Age of Sigmar, because it's got the bionic eye on the left-hand side there, and it's got a chaos symbol around the top of it. So I reckon that is some kind of sigil or totem for the Cult of the Archifane. And then the weird little, it could be something totally different. It could be an orc thing. It could be an Age of Sigmar, like steampunk dwarf thing, for all I know. But the little exhaust pipe thing with a weird electrical-looking twizzle on the other end, that looks like it could be a Cult of the Archifane thing as well. So this is my putting my marker down now. This is probably the last chance. Excuse me, I'm really sorry. This is probably the last chance I'll have to make a prediction before Adepticon. And so I think it's going to be Cult of the Archifane versus the Squats, whose names I refuse to learn because I'm old and I shout at clouds. All right, so let me know in the comments what you think of that prediction. That's the first of 3 main things that I'm going to talk about here. That's the first one of them, so let me know what you think of that. We'll probably find out in 2 weeks. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about this. I've been saying this for ages and ages and ages and ages, and it's got new currency. So they've released this little teaser of the Tyrannid with the Terminator, and Valrak and all those coves have been saying that the 10th edition box, I've been saying this for time immemorial, the 10th edition box is going to be Terminators and Tyrannids. Now, I'm pretty sure that they're going to get rules for kill team, not release for Kill Team, but we're expecting an annual for 2023. The word annual implies they're going to do one every year. That's what annual means. It means we make one every year. Annually. It is a book produced annually. It is an annual. So I'm expecting one. Games Workshop, I think it's reasonable given that you have named it an annual. Slight rant, because what are they putting in the annual? What are they putting in the annual? There have been zero White Dwarf teams. Yes, I think they'll give us 2 new teams. They'll give us the Terminators and the Tyranids. They'll give us the Primar Intercession rules. Like, I know that sounds like a lame thing to use to fill space, but it's only ever had a digital release, so the Intercession rules. And then there have been White Dwarf articles, in fairness. This month's White Dwarf that's just come out today, and, well, yesterday-ish, I think technically on Saturday, but I subscribe, so it's out and about. You can probably find it online. Has multiplayer rules. I know we've already had multiplayer rules, but this has 3 and 4 player maps and missions using Into the Dark. So that's pretty cool. That I could see that getting a reprint in the annual. There's probably been a couple of other articles. I think the terrain classification article never got printed in the first annual. They could scrape up a couple of things. Honestly, if they have the thing of 2 new teams, if they have the Terminators and the Tyranids, they'll sell the book, right? It doesn't matter that they haven't done a pile of White Dwarf teams. They'll just find something spurious to fill the page count with that's narrative and open and probably really cool, but people will ignore it. But they'll buy the book for the 2 new teams. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, it could be a free PDF. There could be no annual. Who knows? But I think we're going to get a Terminator team and a Tyranid team. I think the Terminator team has a potential to be woefully unbalanced, because I think it will be one of the, this is where the cynic in me comes out. It'll be one of these things where they're like, we want to sell as many of these launch boxes for 40k 10th as possible. We need to really publicise the fact that you can play, like I said before, they want people like me to get back into 40k in a big way. If there's rules to playing with some of the models in the new launch box in Kill Team, but the only way I can get those models is by picking up that launch box, well, I'll pick it up. And then I'll have the 10th edition rulebook, and then I might as well play 10th edition, is the logic. I definitely think we're going to see Tyranids and Space Marine Terminators get their Kill Team rules in the interregnum between the season of Space Hulk, as was, and the next season of Kill Team that's going to start up after that. Now, there is going to be a next season of Kill Team. That's been confirmed to me pretty much directly by somebody that I know that is involved in Kill Team plays. Not a lot in so many words, but I mean, it's not a big leak, is it? There is more cool stuff coming for Kill Team in the future, right? Was basically the conversation. So I take from that there is going to be another season of Kill Team. So let's talk about that. So this comes largely from Valrak again. Valrak had a rumour video, and Valrak, I don't personally enjoy his presentation, but damn, the man has some good sources. Like, he refers to his source, Alfarius. Alfarius is on the money, and if Alfarius had a YouTube channel, that'd be an amazing channel. What we have is kind of Alfarius is pure gold filtered through the showmanship of Valrak. I understand a lot of people love Valrak and he's very popular, and I'm not throwing shade or being like, oh, Valrak. Personally, not my cup of tea. Now, I could edit the coughs out. We both know I'm not going to, right? If you want me to go to the effort of editing the videos, you need to join the YouTube membership program, where you get even less edited content, but there you go. And saying that, I'm in the middle of the video. Please subscribe. Please comment. Please join the Discord. Please do all the things. Anyway, Valrak said this. He said the words, Ashes of Faith, right? That's going to be the name of the Kill Team box that will come in July to September 2023. I think it's going to come September time, right? We're going to get a really early box for the end of Season 2, and then a really late box for the start of Season 3. and it's called Ashes of Faith. Baller name. And Valrak's rumour is Beastman, right? Now, kind of confusingly, he talks about two things that he's heard. There's going to be a kill team based around the, what are they called? Not Traitor Command. The Chaos Cultist guys. The Chaos Cultist Command Squad with a banner, and they got the hats. They're apparently getting a team with an upgrade sprue. Now, what Valrak doesn't realise in his video is that there's the cycle of the first box being 2 brand new teams. So park that idea. He also says there's going to be Beastmen. So I think Beastmen are a shorter feature in this Ashes of Faith box. And that made me think of that very rumour. And people laughed at me, right? People laughed, oh, Tabletop Impulse says there's going to be Beastmen. Like, it was a rumour that I got from a very credible source that said he's heard there's going to be Beastmen versus Inquisition. And it never materialised, and we all looked very stupid, didn't we? But if Valrak is now saying that there's this box, Ashes of Faith, coming in, say, September 2023, right, with Beastmen in it, don't you think the opposing force might be Inquisition, right? Because those rumour engines are still there. Right, that Katachan dueling staff, as wielded by that Gene Warrior guy that was a model in Inquisition 54mm, is still there. So I think there's at least a chance, isn't there? Inquisitor Typhus and his dudes, and you know, the sergeant, whatever his name was, the redemptionist guy, the girl who's not. The cop girl who's definitely not based off it. Oh, she's got the same name. I don't know whether she's called. I think she's called. There's like a sci-fi B movie with tits called Barbarella or Barbaretta, and one's the 40K and one's the movie. That's the connection. Somebody Google it. It's fine. Production quality. Let's keep going. But yes, those guys versus Beastmen. I think so. In terms of terrain, and this is me guessing again, like, because we've had the season of Space Hulk, so what are we going to go to now? I think, and this is not Valrak speaking anymore, this is not me reporting on something that I've been told or read or put together, this is me speaking out of my hat again, right? I think it'll be some sort of open board play, so like Season 1 play, but it'll be a brand new set of terrain for that that's maybe a bit more boxy, that's designed for fixed layouts in some way. So maybe you'll get a mat similar to the Into the Dark mats that has maybe a more subtle grid system on it, and you'll lay out the stuff, and you'll play traditional kill team with vantage. You know, there'll be vantage points and heights, and maybe things that clip together, but it'll be fixed layouts, like Into the Dark is. Now, I would think that would be amazing. I think it would kill off Season 1 play altogether in terms of people who took the game remotely seriously, because the number one thing that people dislike is, well, you know, you hear it all the time on sort of try-hard videos. If you're a little bit sweaty about Kill Team, you get that, you know, in the English meta, the terrain is always like, you know, or not even the English meta, in the London meta, the terrain is always like this, or in the Northern meta, the terrain is a bit more like this. Well, over in the Polish meta, the terrain is all more this way, and then the Spanish meta, the terrain is all more that way. Like, and which is the correct way? And then in the American meta, they use this totally different, this like Luster's Workshop stuff, and that affects the game in this way or that way. Like, all that would be gone out the window. All that would be gone out the window. Right, and it would just be, there's your maps, there's your standard terrain, off you go, Jimmy. I think that would be great for the game, and it would piss people off, for sure. I mean, if you take out the Americans, the guy that runs the Kill Team thing over in America, like, I'm not sure whether it's the Kill Team Open, or whether it's the Kill Team at the Las Vegas Open, or whether it's the same guy. I'm sorry. I haven't done my research. Mea culpa. But one of those guys is a guy called something Luster that runs Luster's Workshop that's made a load of his own, like, 3D, not 3D printed, it's MDF laser cut terrain stuff, I think. And they play on that. And then obviously, now you've got to buy 50 plastic boxes You've got to buy 50 boxes of Ashes of Faith. Hope you like Beastman. Yeah, it's going to piss people off. But I think for me, right, in my bubble of playing in my house with my things and then going to Warhammer World where they have all the plastic terrain in the universe, fixed layouts, man. That would be cool. I say that. It's taken Warhammer World a very long time to adopt Into the Dark. So maybe their budget for just getting terrain is not what it once was. What with all the shortages, maybe it's a hard sell now for the events guys to go, oh, we want 12 copies of this terrain. And the sales guys go, oh, we'd much rather sell that and get some money. So, who can say? But that's my thoughts. So then we got the obligatory, what about my guys slide? So if all this comes to pass, what are we left with? Without a bespoke team. Death Guard, Custodes and Grey Knights still struggling on with their compendium teams, and the World Eaters, the new kids on the block, that would be without a kill team analogue. Right, now you could argue that if Beastmen come out, is that like the World Eaters aligned team? And then you go down a whole rabbit hole, because some people get really cross with me when I say, oh, Star Striders and Navy are a guard team, and they're not narratively part of the guard, but they're also human fighting men with lasguns and flak armour. So I know what I mean, and hopefully you know what I mean. Doesn't mean you have to agree, as long as communication is occurring. But it's interesting to me that those three teams, Death Guard, Custodes and Grey Knights, if you were to ask people what teams from the compendium least need an upgrade in terms of competitiveness, those would probably be some of the teams I would say that people would say. I mean, didn't Custodes just go and win KTO? Like, that was a thing. I know I'm the least plugged in to the international competitive play kill team channel that exists on the... I'm not that close to it, though. Like, that's interesting. So maybe they are avoiding them because they're not sure how to... How do Custodes go bespoke without becoming overpowered? How do Death Guard go bespoke without becoming overpowered? How do Grey Knights go bespoke without becoming overpowered? Like, those teams are things where it looks like it'd be quite delicate, because going bespoke is never... It's almost always going to be a buff, like a straight buff to your power, and a big one just in terms of various things. So they are challenging teams to do, but I could see it, because what if this season that starts with Ashes of Faith, that's the Ashes of Faith season, has an Imperium versus Chaos theme? Because after all, the season of Space Hulk, as was, has had a very Xenos theme. Like every box that we've had so far. I know I'm predicting Chaos in the last box, because there's been no Chaos yet. It's been Imperium versus Xenos, Imperium versus Xenos, and Imperium versus Xenos. It's been like Imperial humans versus some Xenos, and then Imperial humans in some different uniforms versus some Xenos, and finally, or thirdly, Imperial humans versus some Xenos. So the Chaos are due a couple of bans in a row, I would have thought. Like, this is not saying that Chaos aren't more deserving than Xenos. I know that Xenos players get bent out of shape with this, because they're like, oh, that, Necrons are like an entire race, and they get one kill team, right? Whereas, like, Imperium is like one race. There should be one Imperium team, one Chaos team, one Eldar team, right? One Tyrannid team, one Orc team, and one Necron team, right? And then they should go from there. I know there are people that think that way. So they're happy to lump all the Imperials together, all the Chaos together, like all three Eldar factions together and both Tyrannid factions together. But they're like, oh, my Orcs and my Necrons deserve more love. I get that, right? And so you may feel like you've not had yours, but I think in a more, not necessarily what I think, but in a more realistic approximation of what Games Workshop thinks, Xenos will probably have their day and Chaos deserve a bit more love. Final thoughts. As always on this video, I love to hear your thoughts. This has been a combination of speculation and prognostication from me, a little bit of reporting of something that Chapter Master Valrak has said, and repetition of a rumour from my Discord from a very long time ago. And hopefully I've been very clear at which points where I was making things up. You know, an educated guess, where I was reporting what other people had said, so that you don't get your hopes built up too high. Remember, everything is not a thing until it's a thing, as it were. So don't get so upset when it, it's always a danger to making these. I wanted to make this video weeks ago, and I've been ill, and then obviously they've announced this today about Adepticon, and I've been like, well, if I'm ever going to make this video, if it's not just going to be a dead video, I need to make it right now before Adepticon, like, spoilers come out on the internet. And then we know what's in the box, and it's like, I can't claim that it's going to be squats, and that I knew it was going to be squats once they've revealed that it's squats, can I? Alright guys, have a great evening, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to have many more videos to come. I've got loads of ideas. I've got a new White Dwarf article to talk about. I've got the rundown of the Empress Arbites to do. So many things. So many things. Thank you, and good evening, chaps and chapettes. I hate chapettes, but I've said it now, and I'm not editing.